I'll call this meeting of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors to order. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Hall. Leyland.
Here.
Little.
Here.
Trelka.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here. Please join us for a moment of silence to reflect on today's actions. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll first entertain a motion on the agenda as received, proposed or amended.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions?
Mr. Jameson, Supervisor. Okay, Hall is with us now.
Thank you. All right. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? The agenda is approved. Next, we'll move on to public comments. If there's anybody in the boardroom or on Zoom that wishes to make a comment on something that's not an agenda item, please do so at this time. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to claims and payments. This is a resolution that the Board of Supervisors approve expenditures and let the county auditor be authorized and directed to issue payments against the various settlements of such claims as allowed.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Ms. Weeder?
Good morning, Board. Our total bill payment today is $423,981.55, and that includes $2,209.61 from the 60/40 fund. We had just a couple of the larger and unusual payments. We are making a payment to Modus today for HVAC improvements, $22,645, and we're also making a payment to Denko Highway Construction Corp. for countywide crack sealing project for $147,174.21. Those are really the only kind of significant unusual payments today. Everything appears to be in order. Any questions?
All right, any questions, Board?
Nope.
Hearing none, this is a resolution. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Hall.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Trelka.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, we will receive project updates from department heads and elected officials. All right, no, wait, nothing, Kathy? All right.
Not till later. She's got enough on the agenda.
All right, all right. All right, anybody else?
Something seems wrong.
All right, we move on to the minutes approved.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. This is a motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, the motion carries. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. This will be approved with a single resolution unless there's something anybody wishes to pull out for a discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions? This is a resolution. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Trelka.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, resolution is approved. Next, we'll move on to contracts and agreements. Item A, this is a resolution that the agreement between Blackhawk County and the Iowa Department of Transportation for the Living Roadway Trust Fund grant to purchase a hydro seeder in the amount of $30,000 with a county match of $43,975, total cost $73,975. Be approved and direct the chair to sign for the same as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Kathy.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, County Engineer. Just a brief update on these next two items. We did apply for money through the Iowa Roadway Living Trust Fund, which is a part of the Iowa DOT. Because we do have a fairly new program, we felt very confident that we would receive money for two items that we would like to purchase this coming fiscal year, a new hydro seeder and a new spray logging system that is part of our truck that we are able to spray the weeds with. We did receive notice 2 weeks ago that we did receive both of these types of fundings. Both of these items should be funded, so we need your approval. This states we will follow all rules set forth by the IRVM program. So I recommend your approval, please.
You're already seeing the difference. The roadways looking beautiful, so it's a really great program. All right. Any discussion or questions, board? Hearing none, this is a resolution. Roll call, please. Mr. Jameson.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, item B, this is a resolution of the agreement between Blackhawk County and the Iowa Department of Transportation for the Living Roadway Trust Fund grant to purchase a spray logging system, the amount of $4,500 with a county match of $2,300, be approved and direct the chair to sign for the same, as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions?
This is for the second item. This one is for the spray logging system, and we did receive up to $4,500 for that.
All right, board, this is a resolution. Roll call, please. Mr. Jameson.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, item C, this is resolution to approve the contract amendment number 2, Phase 2, furniture purchase for the multi-departmental remodel project with Staples doing business as High Touch Business Services for additional desk components not to exceed the amount of $34,837. Be approved and for the chair to sign for the same as recommended by Roy Giving, Facilities Director.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Roy?
Morning, Board. Rory Giving, Facilities Director. This amendment is some additional furniture needed in the Elections Department. Once we put the original accepted furniture in there, we realized that we had some space for an additional piece for extra room. So this takes care of that amongst some other relocations of furniture. Any questions?
All right, any questions, board?
Nope.
Hearing none, this is a resolution. Roll call, please. Mr. Jameson.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Move on to Section 8, Other Business, Item A. This is discussion, possible board action, ARPA funding project updates, public health, Veterans Affairs, HVAC, and server room from Envision Architecture and Modus Engineering as submitted by Roy Giving, Facilities Director.
Good morning again. As mentioned last week, we were invited Envision and Modus here to showcase the design for the public health clinic, the public health offices, the new VA center, as well as the server room. Modus will be touching on the server room. That would involve a relocation of the server equipment along with a new location within the recorder storage area. So with that, I will let them present.
Good morning, Board. I'm Tim Turnus with Envision Architecture. I'll be talking about, first of all, the Pinecrest projects that we have going on. I'm really going to start kind of high level, give you kind of a brief overview of the projects itself, and then kind of dive a little bit deeper about some of the details that are within the projects. Last week, I believe Michelle provided some numbers to you, some range of costs associated with this project. I'll give you a little bit more detail this week associated with those projects. I do have some handouts related to that cost estimate. I will also share them online, so I will give those to you first.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen here. Everybody online seeing that okay? All right. So just to give you a brief overview of kind of high level what's moving around in the Pinecrest building. You know, this is a very old building, multiple levels, 5 different stories. of occupied space, multiple departments. We are intending to really move public health around in the building, which means it also affects the Veterans Affairs department within the building. So I'm just going to go through some diagrams real quick of existing conditions and where those departments are located today, and then I will get into where they'll be located after the project is complete. So what you're looking at right now is first floor of the Pinecrest building. The yellow area is actually Department DHS, and then we have the Health Department located in the north wing and Veterans Affairs located in the west wing. Second floor is primarily DHS with a little bit of storage for public health in the annex that's on the far east side of the building. Third floor is all DHS. Fourth floor is County Social Services and General Assistance, and then we start to see more of the Health Department offices. Fifth floor is fully occupied by the Health Department, with their public health clinic being located in the west wing. Some of the complications associated with their current location is that the accessibility to fifth floor is very limited. It's primarily by elevator. And then once we get to the fifth floor, we really struggle with all of our ADA compliance with our restrooms and just accessibility within the exam rooms. So that's really the catalyst for this project, is trying to get that public health clinic back down to first floor when it can be, where it can be readily accessible by the public. So when we're talking about moving things around, we're looking to consolidate the public health department on first floor. So all of the green areas that you see here on this floor plan is public health. We're maintaining public access into the white area through the main entrance so they can have access to the elevators and the stairs to access the departments up above. And we also will have some presence of DHS reception at that main entrance as people come in with questions and general inquiries for the department, so they don't actually have to go upstairs to access the DHS services. So on the west wing here, currently where Veterans Affairs is located, will be renovated and remodeled to support the needs for the public health clinic. We are, if I can zoom in here, we're constructing 4 exam rooms, one of those being a pediatric specific exam room. We'll have a lot of nurse support areas and workstations. We have some general public waiting with its own separate entrance. So the VA entrance right now will be reconstructed a little bit with a secured vestibule for the public health clinic. And then that's also connected to all of the nursing offices and admin offices that support the clinic through the north wing. So that'll be fully segregated from the main lobby with restricted access. The rest of the floor, we start to incorporate various services within the public health department, disease surveillance being located directly adjacent to the public lobby. We have in these bump out areas of the east wing in the center located area, we have conference rooms and support spaces. These are really staff areas, so break rooms, conference rooms, that sort of thing. You'll see that again repeated up above, and so it's really centralized within the department for use by all of its staff and employees. And then for a little bit further east, we get into some renovation and updates in environmental health. So environmental health is a service that has a lot of field services, a lot of coming and going with those staff members. And so we do have some access located on this side of the building and potentially some parking and access in the back of the building for that coming and going of staff, so they don't really have to go through the main entrance. As far as the scope of the renovation, the heavy areas that we're intending to renovate is really the clinic, to really get that functional and meet our healthcare standards that the clinic needs. And so the heavy renovation with new walls and new construction is primarily in the clinic. The remainder of the space is here on first floor. If it's an office space, we're intending to use it as an office space and not really modify walls. So we're trying to be somewhat frugal with our dollars here. We know we have a limited budget that's available through the ARPA funding, and so we're really looking to get the best value out of those dollars by not moving walls if we don't have to. There are some new walls located in here and some new doors, that sort of thing, just to serve the various functions of each portion of the department. But in essence, we're not moving a lot of walls. So the renovations within these areas are primarily finish upgrades: new flooring, new paint, new ceilings, new lighting, And Mike will talk a little bit about HVAC upgrades associated with this project as well as the additional project that's kind of tied to it. And then we go upstairs to second floor, and the green areas again is what you're seeing is public health. This is the remainder of their space. So really, we've consolidated public health on the first floor, and then probably 2/3 of the second floor to meet all of their needs. And so they'll be directly adjacent to each other. If you remember back to the existing drawings, they're on multiple floors right now, which is kind of cumbersome and really inefficient for that department. So consolidating them is the best move for them. So everything to the east of the public areas, the stair and the elevator will be public health. First located community health here, and then administrative areas. Caitlin and her offices will be located in the annex to the far east there. What is currently the yellow areas here on the floor plan, those are currently occupied by DHS, so there's really no change in the western portion of the building. We continue upstairs. Third floor remains as it is today. It's fully occupied by DHS. No changes architecturally related to that, so no renovation or no dollars associated architecturally with keeping them there. Fourth floor, County and Social Services can remain in that area on the west in kind of partnership with DHS. DHS will need some offices located in the west wing, and then DHS will occupy what was formerly public health on the east wing of the fourth floor. It is not our intent to occupy the fifth floor. We kind of understand the complications associated with fifth floor as far as infrastructure, heating and cooling, accessibility. So if we can avoid occupying the fifth floor altogether and really turn that over for just various county storage, we will do that. So with the shifts between the Public Health Department and DHS, we're shifting about 40 offices in DHS around within the building and moving all the public health down to those lower floors. With the availability of existing offices, there's about 30 available. And so our next step after conversations today is to really meet with DHS to see how they can be efficient and maybe combine some offices. A lot of their staff are kind of remote workers or temporary in the office workers. So that's kind of that next step with us to update them and get their input on how they want to occupy the upper floors of the building. Any questions so far? Those are kind of the big moves within the building.
No, and thank you for doing that, though, and doing it fairly immediate after this meeting, because I think there were some concerns from them as to where.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely. Yep, we haven't had too many conversations with DHS so far. We're trying to work out the details of the public health, the county service first, and then meet with DHS to allow them to have some input on how they shift around in the building.
Yeah.
So the next drawings here are diagrams that you saw last week that I believe Michelle and Rory presented. It start to include some renovation costs and dollars. So we have some various colors here, and the various colors represent the different services within the public health department. So again, on the left with first floor, in the west wing, we have the clinic and the clinic staff, which is basically administration and nursing. That happens in the north wing, again, disease surveillance and environmental health. Right now, we have some ranges of costs here, and I want to make sure we're very clear about what you're seeing here in black and red. In the black, the numbers in black are representative of the construction costs, and this would be your contract amount that you would pay a contractor. So those are construction cost ranges. When I talk about project cost ranges, we have some additional costs in there related to furniture, fees, permits, inspections, all of that stuff, the additional stuff associated with the project. Those numbers are in red. Except for the alternates. The alternates there are in red as well. So that's the difference between our larger red numbers and our larger black numbers. So I do have a detailed cost estimate. If anybody has some questions related to the scopes of work that are within various areas of the building, I can get into that detail, but I'll keep it high level unless there's questions. So when we talk about the clinic renovations, again, these are heavier dollars associated with renovation. Primarily in the north wing, we're not renovating much. These are existing offices. They're going to be offices after we're done with the project. So again, we're talking about finish upgrades in the north wing. The health clinic itself, we are moving a lot of walls. And so we have a lot of new walls, a lot of new pieces of casework in each exam room, new pieces of furniture, a new lab, med storage room, tuberculosis storage room, med storage room, and then some consultation areas. So a lot of new walls, a lot of new construction, a lot of new casework and finishes there. The yellow area, again, is our DHS reception desk, easily accessible off of the main entrance lobby. And then on the east side of the lobby, we do have a public health reception and then begin disease surveillance offices there.
Tim, did that include, like, say, some waiting area when we talked about, like, sometimes there's some clients? That
Yes, exactly. So DHS often, generally over the lunch hour, has a kind of a line of people that are looking to access services within DHS. And so sometimes they kind of, people park in front of the main entrance there and stand in front of the main entrance and can get a little congested. By flipping the DHS reception and public health reception, we can get a little bit more space to the left of the lobby, so people standing in line aren't necessarily in front of the main entrance there. And so there's opportunity for some chairs, maybe a countertop or something, because normally there's some paperwork associated with the DHS reception that customers or clients need to use.
Thank you.
Again, the center areas are really staff support areas. These two colors represent a medium-sized conference room and a break room. And then we get to environmental health in the blue here. And again, not a lot of renovation, mainly just finish upgrades in these areas. So we see cost ranges here of $1.5 to $1.75 million for just the clinic, the areas in green, 1.1 to 1.3 with finish upgrades in purple and blue, and this kind of turquoise green color in the middle. And then jumping up the second floor, again, the colors represent different services within the department. So we have our community health in this yellow-orange color, and then administration in kind of the blue-gray color on the east wing with staff support areas, small conference room, another kind of medium to small conference room, and then a break room. So again, we're not really moving a lot of walls in these areas. The costs primarily represent finish upgrades of $900,000 to $1.1 million. One thing I do want to touch on these two floor plans are some alternates. As we've gone through this this process, we're looking at the public restrooms and their kind of status and what kind of condition that they're in. And so the numbers that you see here are repeated on first and second floors. This is all encompassing from first floor up through fourth floor to upgrade the public restrooms, new fixtures, new finishes, just to refresh them, $180,000 to $195,000. So that'd be paint on walls, new flooring, new toilet partitions, new plumbing fixtures, that sort of thing to bring them and update them. Another alternate that we have identified is potentially a finish upgrade in room 220, which is currently kind of a shared conference room from DHS and the rest of the departments within the building. And that room upgrade is about around $70,000 to $75,000. So our projected cost range for the entire project of $4.7 to $5.24 million. So these numbers are a little bit higher than what we originally had talked about of a budget available ARPA dollars of $5.8 million. And so I believe you guys are all aware of kind of where we stand with some ARPA funding, and in relationship to these budgets that we're providing today don't necessarily align. And so really we're looking for some feedback from you on scope items we either take forward and take through bidding or reduce and cut back out of the project. So we do have some flexibility within those dollars to reduce if necessary. And I don't want to forget about really phase one of the project. I started with phase two because that's primarily all of Pinecrest. The first move that the construction project will need to make is move Veterans Affairs out of Pinecrest and into the former EPI building in the back of the building north of Pinecrest. So this existing building here is a wood frame structure, kind of residential style construction. It's being fully renovated. The proposed project fully renovates this to house all of the Veterans Affairs offices and staff areas, as well as all of the support areas for the clients and customers that utilize the services with Veterans Affairs. And so looking at this plan, this cross-shaped plan, the entrance is here along the southeast portion of the building and enter into the lobby space. Directly off of the lobby space, we do have a lounge. And this is really kind of a game room, areas where people can congregate and meet together and talk. Maybe some entertainment with some TVs and stuff in there. It's really a place for veterans to come and congregate and share time together. We do have a kitchen that serves primarily the meals that the Veterans Affairs serves on a weekly basis throughout the summer months in nice weather. With this renovation, they also have the ability to use this multi-purpose space here on the west wing to house some of those events as well. And so really we're renovating this into one large area for the various monthly board meetings, as well as the other functions that the VA service provides for veterans throughout the weeks and months. The area up to the north is the blue areas of staff offices. These are really secured from the rest of the building. If there is an event or something that takes place that needs some extra security, we have them separated from the rest of the building with controlled access. And then the gray areas are really mechanical, the toilets that exist today and storage rooms. One portion of this project is that, yes, there's an interior renovation, but there's also this covered patio area. I mentioned the meals that Veterans Affairs serves on a weekly basis here to a lot of veterans, up to 100 different veterans in any event. So we have this covered patio off the back, really kind of a backyard setting, which is going to be really nice for the veterans and the services to allow people to congregate outside during those warm months. The existing garage over here is also included in these cost estimates. If we're going to upgrade the exterior of the building, we're going to try to mimic some of those exterior upgrades on the garage. They're a little bit less costly than what's happening on the main building. So within the renovation here, like I said, we're renovating the interior. The exterior includes full exterior upgrade, so new windows, new insulation, new wall cladding. You'll see some images here shortly of the building itself. New roofing, that sort of thing. So the goal here is once we're done with the project, the building is fully upgraded, both from an exterior envelope standpoint, interior renovations and finishes, as well as the HVAC and electrical systems within the building. So our construction cost range, about $1.5 to $2.25 million roughly, and then projected cost range of 1.9 to 2.6. Again, these numbers aren't quite aligning with the original budget numbers, so we do have some flexibility. We have some design options to reduce if necessary. These numbers do include some alternates. And if I switch over here, actually, let me go through the renderings first so you fully understand the scope of work. So we look at the building here today. The building is clad with wood sheathing, essentially painted dark brown. We're looking to take all of that off, re-insulate it, and tighten up the envelope a little bit, replace windows, provide some larger openings for some visibility into the building. So this view is actually from the street, from I believe it's Idaho Street, looking at the building. Currently there's a big tree right there, and that's going to have to be removed, unfortunately. And there's some power lines and things that we're going to have to work around, but we're trying to open this up, clean it up a little bit, and reclad the building in a lighter color here. Moving around to the main entrance of the building, we change our cladding type to a warm wood tone. Again, wood tones are just a little bit more inviting for people accessing the building. We're trying to create this home-like setting that's very comfortable for veterans, that they can come have a place to receive services and just have a little bit of interaction with their peers and the services that the county provides. We have the opportunity to create some landscaped areas and maybe a little bit of stone retaining wall there, wrap some landscaping around the east side, and then tie it into that backyard setting that you'll get to see here shortly. Coming into the building, this is the lobby. There is kind of this vaulted ceiling that exists today within that building, and so we're maintaining that openness. And opening up the back of the building creates some visibility and circulation to the back of the building to that covered patio area. To the right is that lounge area, create some openness there and connectivity to the coming and going in the lobby. We do have a secured reception desk there, provides that person a little bit of safety and security behind some glass there, but it's still open enough to be welcoming to the people coming in. And to the left here is really just a refreshment counter for some coffee and water. Coming into the lounge space, this is looking back at that main entrance that we just were standing at. Again, kind of a game room, a lounge type setting, living room type setting for, reading. We do have some built-in shelving for some artifacts or memorabilia or anything related to the military services. So kind of display cases that we can work around some televisions if we need to. And really just tables and chairs maybe for playing cards, that sort of thing. This is the large open multi-purpose room on the west side of the building. It's really meant to be flexible, lightweight furniture that can be moved and reconfigured as needed for the various sizes of meetings or meals that are served in this area, with some AV here on the north wall to project some information.
And that seats how many, Tim? Approximately?
90 to 100 is what it was the goal. Yep.
So that could possibly be utilized or shared sometimes with other meetings that may
Absolutely.
be going on as well.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Yeah, it is a large meeting space for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And looking at I'll go back to the floor plan, it does have access directly to the exterior. So if there was a different department that needed to utilize that, there is an entrance that can go directly into the room that doesn't have to go through the main lobby.
Okay.
And then this is the back area. We have a covered patio area, again, seating for about that same number, 90 to 100 people, and picnic tables and chairs, that sort of thing here. We are connecting the building to that with a lightweight pergola-like structure. You'll see this in our cost estimate. This is an alternate, so not fully necessary, but just a nice backyard feeling for the services that the Veterans Affairs Department provides. Okay, let's run to the cost estimate real quick here. So I covered a lot of information. Before I get into this, are there any questions about the scope of work that we're taking on?
I don't think so.
Okay. So the cost estimate here is broken into two different phases. The phase one being in the green area and the phase two being the blue area. And really this is separation by building. So the green area is representing the former EPI building that Veterans Affairs is moving into in phase one to allow space and renovation to occur within the Pinecrest building. So again, these numbers are I'll zoom in here. So at the very top number is our net construction costs. Because we're still in design and haven't bid this, I'm including a 5% contingency on that. So that's the second line there of about $78,000 for a total construction of $1.642 million. We do have some built-in alternates to this, and I just want to run through those real quick to see if there's any questions with those. We are intending to make this building all electric, which would extend an electric snow melt system to that main entrance, on the snowy days. And accessibility is one of the primary concerns with this building and providing good accessibility to the building. And so if there's an incorporation of a snow melt system, it's only going to impact the ability for some veterans with disabilities to access the building. We are exploring a solar field array as well on the north side of the building, an extension really of the existing solar array that's serving Pinecrest. It has to be a separate system, just the way utilities work, because this is a separate address, a separate building. So we're exploring an option for adding solar to support the building there.
I know that's the one alternate that I've got questions on, and I'm a huge supporter of solar.
Sure.
But just knowing that we did all of Pinecrest for $700,000, and this is $400,000, I'm not jiving with this number.
It's my turn. Right?
All right.
So Mike Broquet with Modus Engineering. I was just waiting for my intro.
Here you go.
So Chris, so that 420 was our original conservative number, just to try to get an idea. We didn't know a lot about the project yet, trying to get that cost out. Since then, we have worked with Midwest Solar here in Waterloo, and we've kind of refined that. Our design has been refined a little bit as well. And that 420 is actually turning into 280. So that has reduced to that amount.
Okay.
That's kind of what we're thinking at this point. It's 140 kW solar array, and at this point that it's considered a net zero. We're producing as much as we're going to use on average, and we're estimating 15,000 kilowatts hours on a monthly basis.
And were we able to get past utility information from the past utility usage?
Well, it gets tricky because this is a different use. We have kind of like, for example, that training room that has 100 people. We need to provide proper ventilation for that. And so it just really doesn't give a very comparative numbers. That the current service is a single phase, and we're proposing that we need to have a 3-phase coming in to support the mechanical system as well as the other needs for the facility.
Okay.
And so we've worked with Mid-American on that piece of it, trying to bring a new service in.
Okay.
Okay.
And I know that we had discussed last week looking into the possibility of a power purchase agreement instead as an alternative to getting solar.
Yeah, so I've also mentioned, I have also talked to Midwest Solar about that as well, and they can provide one. There's other organizations I know that in the past that was it Eagle?
Yeah, Eagle Point.
Eagle Point has provided some solar for you guys as well. So there's other entities that can do a PPA if that's of interest. One of the pieces of information that I need to share with you guys is that a couple years ago that the federal government passed the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, and what that means for folks that are nonprofit like the county is that if you have a geothermal system or a solar system, now you can apply up to 30% in tax credits. And so we are doing this currently for school districts, for other entities. And so based on that, you take 30% of your installed cost, which turns into about $84,000 that you as a county could receive back as a tax credit.
As a local government entity, we're eligible for that? Okay.
And so when we take that into consideration, the payback is just shy of 11 years on that. Obviously, that helps for sure. One thing to note though, there are a couple of projects that we are involved with that process, and you have to, as a owner, you pay the full cost up front, and then once it's complete and gets validated, then you get a check from board. You get the credit from the government after the installation is complete. So it's not like the initial cost is going to be that higher cost, but just knowing that there is a credit discount later.
Okay.
Okay. So just wanted to keep that in mind.
You said 280 was the...
280 is
Okay.
where our cost estimate is, and that also includes a fence around the solar array, which is what you have currently at the current Pinecrest facility.
And it'll just be, I know it'll be a separate system, but it'll be just added on to that same area, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep. Yep, that's correct.
All right, thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
The next 3 line items are really related to exterior options. When we talk about our cladding systems, our roofing systems, and potentially a pergola there, we know that metal roof systems are potentially a 50-year solution. Generally maintenance-free. Nothing's maintenance-free, but compared to asphalt shingles, we could replace asphalt shingles 3 or 4 times for the cost of a metal roof as well, though. So that's something to consider as far as the value proposition of dollars spent up front versus ongoing maintenance cost over the lifespan of the roof.
And that's
Sorry, real quick question on the metal roofing. What's that price difference on the metal roofing versus the shingle?
That is the alternate.
That is the difference,
That
the
represents the
114.90.
difference.
Okay.
Correct. Yep. Good question.
that would be metal roofing on the gazebo as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, the covered patio, the main building, and the garage. Yes. So that's the cost difference there. So these are all, again, evaluations that we can take right now. We can decide whether we take them into bidding or not, depending on what you're comfortable with within the budget. Again, I have a contingency dollar associated with the alternates itself, and so that total alternates, we're approaching $600,000 in alternates, accepted or not. And so the combined construction total, which does include the alternates of roughly $2.4 million. And so that would be a number, if the alternates are accepted, that's a number we would see on bid day from the contractors. In addition to that cost, we have soft costs: furnitures, fixtures, equipment, fees, permits, insurance, printing, construction contingency. You know, when we move into construction, I want you guys to hold on to a certain percentage to cover potential change orders. Construction is never perfect, especially when you're in renovation. And so you're going to potentially cover some unknowns that we're just not aware about today. So we hold a certain percentage of contingency for you to help pay for potential change orders in the project. So that totals about $270,000. So phase one total all in of over $2.6 million. When we're talking about our original $5.8 roughly million of available ARPA funding between the expense and the, Michelle, remind me of the other one.
It's also
lost
ARPA,
revenue. Yes.
Replacement revenue.
Yes, replacement revenue we're over budget by roughly almost $1.3 million. So, but again, we have some alternates built in there to help us reduce that cost if we need to.
And Tim, I would like to point out, I don't believe that the separate building for VA was even on the radar when that original space study was developed.
Yeah, we had some dollars associated with Veterans Affairs moving over there because Public Health wanted to move to first floor, but those costs were only for interior renovation of moving that department into that building. So since then, we've looked at all of the exterior upgrades that I've mentioned here, listed some of them as alternates. So because they were added, I wanted to identify them separately. And then the bottom portion of that, very similar format to the top. So when we're looking at the blue, the net construction cost, that's pulled directly from my takeoffs. Have a contingency in there. I do have another line item in there for a phasing premium because that contractor has to start and stop multiple times as different various things move around in the building. So there is a premium associated with that for them to start and stop. I've included that in the estimate. So we're just over $4 million for the construction total. Again, I have the alternates listed here for the toilets in the conference room that I mentioned when we reviewed the floor plan. Have a contingency for the alternates as well, so that total construction alternate number is just over $280,000. And so we're looking between 4.3 and 4.4 on bid day. And again, the soft costs there, these are really just percentages totaling 20% added to the construction cost. So phase two total of $5.24 million. Again, a little bit higher than what we had budgeted for when we were talking about the original ARPA funding. So all in phase one and phase two, we're looking at $7.8 to $7.9 million.
And on the soft costs, I know that you're going to kind of do an inventory of the existing furniture.
Yep.
Kind of where does that stand on what's...
We'll be working with Caitlin and her team over the next week or two to get started on that, take an inventory of existing furniture that is potentially going to move with them when they relocate in the building. And so we can balance out that against the budget.
Okay.
That is all the information I have. That was a lot and very fast. So if you have questions, please share.
It was, but we have a timeline to meet, so it was appreciate the fact that you were able to do it so quickly. You did a good job, really, of, I think, presenting it, though, to us. It was a lot what we'd expected, but not to this detail, so.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
go back to the question of the original ARPA dollars, that 5.8. That number originated from the original space assessment that we did when ARPA became available. And so at that time, we actually were looking at repurposing fifth floor, relocating the health department where the environmental services are currently at. So this project has changed quite significantly since then, so I just wanted to point that out.
That was good. We were just kind of looking for estimates of what we thought the cost could be, so yeah, we pulled it from that old study, you're right.
Yeah.
And that was, I do think that was before we knew we were able to acquire the
Yeah, that wasn't
The
a
other
factor
building,
at the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, timing on that worked out really
And
well.
we were fortunate, really.
So yeah, moving forward, I would like to have Mike with Modus just explain a little bit on the HVAC that pertains to this project. And then we also have the separate HVAC project that involves the Blackhawk County Jail and the rest of Pinecrest, as well as the server room. So I know we have a long meeting today, so we'll try to get through that.
That's all right.
Okay.
What are you expecting from us today to keep
So
moving
what
forward?
my goal was, the reason I had put that on the agenda as possible board action is I would like to go away from this meeting with an acceptance of this design to allow Modus and Envision to continue putting their plan design together so we can get bid packages ready to send out.
Because I think we all are aware, but we have to have the bid packages out, in contracts awarded for the ARPA expense piece before December 31st of this year. So the timeline is growing short to do that.
And with regards to the alternates too, if it's my understanding, those alternates are alternates, so they can be placed in the bid package as alternates. So when those bids do come in, if we find cost is higher than we anticipated, then a decision can be made at that time. But to our benefit, if we find that costs are lower, and then we can accept those alternates to utilize this ARPA funding, because we will be at kind of our final hour with those ARPA dollars. So,
From a construction climate right now, do we expect to get multiple bids, or do we think, like say, this is a rather large?
Yeah, in talking with local contractors, they're looking for work.
Okay.
These are ideal projects because they'll start here before winter begins, and so it's inside work for contractors, so they are attractive. They're actually small enough, too, that we're going to expand kind of our pool of contractors that might be interested in taking on this work as well, especially because the former EPI building is a wood frame building. Some of those smaller contractors may be more willing to take those on. So from just a raw construction side, I believe general contractors are available right now and are looking for work. And you can probably talk a little bit more about
I would
HVAC.
concur even with the mechanical, electrical. Richie, what do you think? Yeah, okay, yeah. So, I've been in conversations with just local contractors, and not that this is just going to be local contractors. I mean, there's contractors outside the area, but I think in general, it is definitely a good time for bidding. And, the challenge is trying to procure the equipment so work can be done. There's some demolition, but you can only do so much of that as well. And so time is of the essence, as we all know.
And writing those proposals or getting that ready as far as the timeline for that and the timeline to have the information back and us make decisions on that. Do we have an estimate on that, or?
What was that, Linda?
The timelines for us getting the proposals written out,
Yeah, so
returned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you wanna-
Yeah, so our goals right now is to release documents in mid-October. Because Mike and Modus have a separate HVAC project, we want to kind of stagger those a little bit because one impacts the other. And so we're working kind of behind the scenes to coordinate the timing of release of documents and when we receive bids, because it will impact one project or the other. And so we're looking for mid-October for release of documents and looking to receive bids before Thanksgiving. Allows us to have some time here before the end of the year, before the holidays, to firm up our contracts and get those awarded and moving forward to meet those ARPA requirements.
Yeah, to add to that, receiving all the bids
Yes.
for all the projects, because obviously you can make an informed decision of the alternates that are going to be placed in front of you. And so we're trying to stagger them, within a couple of weeks, trying to get all the bids together, because we want to have, there's an opportunity to share the work with different contractors. And if they're not, unfortunately, if they're not able to get one project, maybe they can able to get some other projects too. So giving some time for them to react as well.
Working around the holidays isn't always fun either, so.
Yeah, so
it's
trying to get,
extra
yeah,
timeline.
so trying to move that before Thanksgiving, and then there's a period of time for the board and for us to talk through it and validate it, and then make decisions, and then get contracts written. So, yeah.
Yeah, tight enough, right?
So in the bids, these things that are alternates will be presented as
Yeah.
alternates.
They
and
can
we
be,
decide.
unless you say we don't want it without alternate right now, we'll just take it out of the scope of work and not bid it.
Uh-huh.
I think we'd want it in, my.
Yeah, I
opinion,
think
but
I would
like
see
it.
everything that's in there. I mean, something like the solar, if we don't like the bids come out, I could see sending that out to bid on its own too. Future, but it's, I don't have a problem including it in the bid package right now.
Chris, on the specific, on the solar, what we would do under the base bid, we have future conduit.
Mm-hmm.
So if the solar doesn't happen, that the conduit would be in place to be added easier than it would be not having the conduit, and that's fairly inexpensive cost from that standpoint.
Good. Yeah, since we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tavis or Dan, Tom, any thoughts on with or without alternatives?
I'm comfortable putting those in for now, and yeah, we can scale back if the dollars need to make a little more sense.
I'm good.
All right. So Roy, did you want a motion from us today?
Or
That was my goal, yes.
you wanted to present some more
Yeah.
information
Yeah,
first?
so
too?
I mean, it gets confusing. I mean, because Modus has a separate contract with you folks on improving HVAC. However, there is some overlap with the Pinecrest building, because we're doing HVAC improvements while we're also doing remodeling improvements for public health as well. So let me just walk through my information, and then we'll just hopefully just do one overall vote and be done with it. So Rory, I know everybody is so patiently waiting for me to be done, but let me just do a quick overview on the EPI. I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to go phase 1 first. So in the EPI building, we're removing all the existing systems, everything, mechanical, electrical, technology. We may be using the existing underground ductwork. One of Rory's, some of their staff are helping us with some investigations there. But it's going to be all electric, as been spoken, so that would be great setup for the solar project. Moving into the Pinecrest for the public health remodeling. That clinic is very heavily remodeled. There's walls being removed. In that specific space, we're replacing all the existing fan coil units. It's the fan coil units that does the heating and the cooling. They're sitting on the floor, right, usually underneath a window. We have 64 of those in our budget to replace. There's 302 in the building. And so some of that is happening under that heavy renovation. Once you get outside of that heavy renovation, then it's more considered light renovation, which means new lighting, new power, new technology, cameras, card access, we got security. Those things are all part of what Tim talked about previously, and those are in the number that he has shown you. Okay? So that's that project. So if we can just kind of take a breath, that's that one. Now we move into the HVAC improvements. Same building, Pinecrest. We had a test and balancing contractor that came through and did unit profiles on the existing ventilation units. and we found out that there's definitely some improvements. There's some humidity issues, some of the temperatures aren't quite right, and so therefore, we're going to replace the existing ventilation units to get better humidity, better air quality into that facility, and that's all floors. Okay, so that's a big deal. But the good thing about it is that we found out that the infrastructure, the main ductwork, is large enough so we don't necessarily have to incur the cost of ripping out walls in order to upsize the ductwork. So that's good. That's good news. So ventilation is being replaced throughout the building. We also are replacing the other remaining fan coil units. They're 35 years old. Maintenance says they get calls a couple times a week, is what I've heard. So it's time to get those replaced. They can be an alternate as well. So that's happening. And then the big move for Pinecrest is replacing the temperature controls. There's existing temperature controls, but again, they're dated. They need to be updated, and we are going to replace all of the controllers. So when we walk away from this project, we'll have all new temperature controls, we'll have all new fan coil units in the building, and we'll have a ventilation system that people are going to appreciate. The things that we aren't touching is the boilers, the chillers. Those have been updated, I would say, in the last 10 years or so. So they're in great condition. We don't need to mess with those. So they stay. Generator is good. The main service is fine. So that's going to stay. That's Pinecrest. So if there's any questions on that, I'll move into the next building.
Do you have cost breakdown between building to building?
We do.
Okay.
So Michelle, I don't have it handy, but Michelle spoke to it last Tuesday, and those numbers haven't changed. And Michelle, if you want to, do you want to speak that? Do you want to know that?
No, that's you
Okay.
can keep going.
I'm going to try to throw up. Well, I'm going to try not to throw
Okay.
up, but I'm going to try
Well,
to put it on
you
the
throw
board.
up, Michelle, and I'll do the other two buildings, and then we'll work together. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay, I can't talk.
It's been long days with Michelle and I. So moving to the next building is the jail. The jail has pneumatic controls for building controls. I know, talking to Rory and the maintenance staff, that it's been very, very cumbersome, just very hard to troubleshoot. And under this project, we are replacing all the controls in the entire jail, and that's an undertaking by doing that. So pneumatic tubing, all the actuators, everything is going to be replaced with direct digital controls. But there's more. There's a lot more. As we walk through the kitchen is original, and what was designed for back in the early '90s is not being utilized today. There's a rooftop unit that serves the kitchen that's not working right now. It hasn't been for a while. There's definitely some inefficiencies with the outside air usage. The exhaust hoods are grossly oversized for what is being currently used. It was my understanding back in the day there was a pizza oven generator that took up half of one of the kitchen hoods. Well, it's just being used as storage racks, but yet you're exhausting all this air as if there's a pizza maker underneath that. So we're proposing to replace all new hoods, new HVAC system, provide more efficiency, save on utility costs. Another project within the building is updating some of the VAV boxes, so that's primarily on first floor where the administration's at, and just providing better control in those spaces. And so we have that under consideration. There's a coil in one of the energy recovery units, which is the ventilation unit for the jail, that has failed, and we're going to replace that under this project. We also are putting in a couple of exhaust fans for two of the jail cells for COVID patients, COVID inmates, And so 2 of the cells are going to have that function. And that's what we're doing for the jail. And on the jail, so then going back, Michelle, do you want to talk?
With this project, as I've always been concerned about the ground level air intake, does that change in the system?
Does not change under this project.
Okay.
What we can look at, though, with the control system is we can look at, there are different monitors that you can monitor the air coming in, and that is something that we can incorporate in with the control system.
Okay.
Yeah, good point, Rory. That is easy to accommodate, where when the outside air is of condition that it needs to be shut off, we can do that through the control system now. And just through dampering system, we wouldn't want to do it all day, but if there's periods of time that we need to, based on what's directly outside, that can happen. And then I might as well just talk about the server room, and then we can circle back to all the costs. Here at the courthouse, we are proposing to put a new server room in. The room would be placed in the recorder's storage room area. And we spent time with Alan, Clint, and Rory to walk through and kind of make sure that this is kind of the permanent location of it all. I mean, over the years, the IT department has been doing a great job of doing the abilities that they have, but this is a critical component for the county. And we need to have appropriate equipment and appropriate safety measures in order to handle that. So we're creating this new room that has chemical suppression systems, and not just using water-based, but actually chemicals. There's expensive equipment in there. We're also having equipment that's meant for this type of room, for humidity control, for the heating and the cooling, primarily the cooling on it. And we also have a backup system as well that we have in place. So we call it an N+1. And so we have walked through that with the IT department as well. So smaller project, but nonetheless a very important project. And phasing, we've had several discussions about the phasing, because just having the system down also became a discussion on where the room is located. And so we worked with Al and his team on trying to minimizing that as well. And so then circling around to the costs. Did you want to walk through these costs, Michelle?
We pretty much walked through
Okay.
it last week,
All right.
so
Okay.
unless board wants to review it, we can, but.
No, I think we're okay.
Okay.
And the remaining shortfall can be affected by the alternates that we've been discussing
Right.
as bid day comes. And we do know we do have reserves too, so.
All right. Anything else you wanted to present today?
I'm good, unless you guys have any further questions. I appreciate your time.
Just where we all move when you do all this. Where are we located?
The logistics of it is going to be quite complicated, and that's something we have started to talk a little bit about. With the policy committee that we had the other day, there's an item on there, potentially some remote working. Might have to maybe utilize some of that. I don't know. We're just starting now to kind of look at what that might look like, and we're learning a little bit too from the project here at the courthouse. So, yes. So that's it. We've been working several months on this, so hopefully if you do have any questions, please let me know. But the goal was to get this on the agenda today, and if you approve of the design, I'd like to be able to let Modus and Envision do their thing and get bid packages going.
Okay. And Michelle, the 900,000 is the total estimated overrun between all these projects, right?
Correct. All of it inclusive.
And keep in mind, that included the 420 for the solar, so we can back that off a
Right.
bit.
There are several things in there. That's one of them. And
Now, do we, on things like the furniture, do we need to have that better sense before it goes out to bid? We can improve today, though, but
That is something we are actually, Caitlin and her team, along with Envision, are kind of identifying what furniture can be repurposed, because they do have a lot of newer furniture, that it would just make sense if we could repurpose that. We don't have a firm number on that yet, but that will definitely affect that bottom line.
okay.
I think the furniture for the project came in at, what, $250, I believe, so it would be a reduction on that number.
And they won't be doing as much work, I guess, with the furniture. I think we're first looking for the construction design,
Just the
because that'll be
design.
bid separately, so then they can continue to work on the furniture
Okay.
after that. Again, hopefully with a reduction in the cost.
Right. Well, I'm comfortable having this go out. Would someone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make the motion. You said to what, to accept the design that allows Modus and Envision to proceed, I guess with that. Okay.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions, board? Hearing none, this is a resolution. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. We will move on to item B. This is a resolution for the purchase of capital equipment submitted by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer. Be approved and direct the chair to sign for the same to purchase one new spray logging system, the amount of $6,800 from Spray Sync of Boise, Idaho.
So moved.
Second? Kathy?
Yeah, I just want to make a couple comments. We did budget a spray logging system in our FY25 budget for $8,000. These systems allow the operator in our spray truck to collect electronically the type of herbicide or pesticide that's being sprayed, the amount, the coverage, the area, the weather, the temperature, all that type of information that we need to be responsible for reporting to IDALs in case we get a complaint from a resident or a property owner. All that information is collected electronically. It can sync up with our GIS system, and then we can make maps and report back on our spraying activities for the past year. We did submit bids. We collected 2 bids from 2 vendors. Many of these vendors want to work with agricultural type applications, so we did only find the 2 vendors. We would like to go with the bid received from Spray Sync out of Boise, Idaho, for $6,000, and then there would be an $800 subscription fee. And we would be reimbursed per the agreement that you just signed at the previous agenda item. We would be reimbursed $2,300 once we pay the bill for that.
All right, board, any discussion or questions? This is a resolution. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Little, Little, Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, we'll move on to item C. This is a resolution that the request for purchase of capital equipment submitted by Roy Giving, Facilities Director, be approved and direct the chair to sign for the same to purchase actuators for air handlers in the amount of $14,950 from Base Point of Des Moines, Iowa.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, Roy?
Yes, so I think we jinxed ourselves with controls working on Pinecrest in the jail, but we recently had a failure here at the courthouse with our pneumatic system that does control our outside dampeners. This has been somewhat of an ongoing issue with us here at the courthouse, but our staff has been able to kind of adapt and overcome. It finally came to the point where the system has failed completely. So right now, in order to open our dampeners, we have to physically manually open those. And so this would be putting in an electronic system that would be tied to our existing head-end HVAC control system. Base Point is the company that is currently servicing the courthouse.
Okay.
You mentioned this comes from your repair budget. Do you have a balance in that you try to keep for these types of things, or how is that?
We do try to anticipate a little bit. This might end up actually putting us a bit over. We don't typically have this type of balance left at the end of the year, but this is where we would pull it out of and then we would work at the end of the year to try to shore that up.
All right, Maureen, this is a resolution. Any other questions or discussion? Hear none, roll call, please. Mr. Jameson.
Trelka? Trelka? You're muted, Dan.
Yes. Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Leyland?
Yes.
Little?
Yes. And Tim,
Sure.
I had an issue with Zoom on the last one. I voted yes.
All right, thank you. Schwartz?
Yes, resolution is approved. Item D, this is resolution to place stop sign number 529 to stop traffic southbound on Waverly Road southeast corner of section 11-T90N-R14W at the intersection of West Cedar Wapsie Road and Waverly Road as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
So move.
Second.
Second. Kathy?
Yeah, good morning again, Board. I wanted to take a few minutes to just go over the thought process that we use to establish these stop signs. And every intersection is different in our county, and I just wanted to show you a few slides. At this intersection in Cedar Wapsie and Waverly Road, this is just west of Highway 218. There's a lot of traffic, of course, coming off the Highway 218 exit. You can see that I've given you some traffic data here. The highest traffic leg is over here on the east side of Cedar Wapsie. It gets over 22,000 vehicles a day, 1,200 on this side, and then you can see the volumes for Waverly Road. Currently, the stop signs are on the west side of Cedar Wapsie and then on the east side of Cedar Wapsie. And another important feature of this intersection is that the Cedar Falls Gun Club is in the northwest corner at this intersection. And that generates a lot of traffic, and that is primarily what is urging us to do this improvement to do this upgrade at this intersection. If you know the gun club, this sport is gaining in popularity. It's gaining in popularity with a lot of high schoolers. The annual high school trap shoot meet is held in June at the Cedar Falls Gun Club. So adolescents, young people come from all over the state to participate in that. And when young people show up, they bring their grandparents, they bring their parents, they bring siblings. So a lot of people show up at this meet. The Trap Shoot Association estimates that they receive between 3,000 and 4,000 people over a 7-day period. This corridor that you can see right in front of you, the last few years, there's been a lot of congestion at this event. There has been traffic parking on both sides of Cedar Wapsie Road, up and down the road for almost a mile on west of Waverly Road intersection. This has resulted in some near misses, people darting in and out of traffic as traffic is coming and going. And we are also seeing increasing events at the gun club. It's not just this event. There's also a state trap shoot meet for adults, but we didn't go through these measures that I'm going to be briefly explaining to you that we do for other events. It's only this event with the high school trap shoot that receives so many spectators, so many visitors. So we got together with the High School Trap Shoot Association and told them that something needs to change. Somebody's going to be hurt or killed up there if we don't do something different in that corridor at that intersection. So this spring we put a plan together where we designated 2 parking areas. This is Power Pavers, a manufacturing facility. Their grassy area here was used for parking. And then this was a long time parking area owned by Bill Hess that he has encouraged people to get off the road and park over there. This year we kind of made it mandatory. We put up parking signs along both sides of Cedar Wapsie Road. We put up message boards because we made this a 4-way stop. We put up stop signs on both the north and the south side of Waverly Road. making that a four-way stop. We put up message boards alerting people of the fact that it was a four-way stop, and then we used our message boards on Cedar Wapsie Road, both sides of the intersection, to tell people where to park. Then we put up pedestrian crosswalks, basically, where we put up crosswalk signs on both sides of the crosswalk, as well as these flexible type signs that you've probably seen at a store, Target, for example. Some of these are out front of stores that they're flexible. If a vehicle hits this, it will just knock it over. So this was placed in the center of the road to allow pedestrians, designate that as a marked crosswalk. This was highly successful. We had a lot of good comments from the neighbors, from nearby residents, from the sheriff's office reported that this was really successful. It kept people out of the road. Traffic slowed down. Then we took it away after the event was over. We got calls. We thought about this ourselves. We told the Iowa Trap Shoot Association, you've got to do something. You've got to continue with this every year, or else you need to institute a shuttle system, like parking at Antique Acres, for example, or the Cedar Falls Raceway. We suggested they could work with them and establish a shuttle system. So that, of course, involves costs, and we all really like this idea of making this a four-way stop. However, it adds confusion to the intersection up there when it comes and goes after just 2 weeks of being installed up there for the event, and then it's gone. So we did do an engineering study as required by the manual and uniform traffic control devices to look at what it would take to convert this to an all-way stop. The manual and uniform traffic control devices, MUTCD, says that there are some warrants that we must meet in order to establish stop signs, regardless of the stop sign. So I won't go into all the details, but we did meet 4 of the warrants for crash experience, 8-hour volumes, and then, of course, the most important one at this intersection would be all the pedestrians that cross in that intersection. So we felt that it was justified to install the four-way stop, or all-way stop. I should also mention that there are countermeasures in place, and countermeasures are treatments that we do on our roadway to mitigate crashes, reduce crashes, and those would be things like rumble strips, edgeline 6-inch pavement markings, edgeline rumble strips, stop signs, stop ahead signs, putting the LED flashing stop signs up. We've done all the countermeasures we feel can be done at this intersection. And we would like to do more to mitigate the congestion by going to an all-way stop system. So in conclusion, I would like to propose that we are allowed to place the 2 additional stop signs at this intersection. We have implemented countermeasures over the years to make the intersection as safe as possible. We do need the 2 resolutions, and then next week, our next steps would be going out, if approved, we would be going out with our message board for probably a week, alerting the public that this will convert to an all-way stop and in the next 7 to 10 days, and then we would continue with those same message boards for probably another 1 to 2 weeks, just alerting them of the fact that there is a changed traffic condition ahead to try to minimize any type of accident that could occur from the changing or the converting of that intersection. And I should also say that the stop signs in place currently have a flashing globe on top of them. The new stop signs will be exactly the same. It will be a uniform always stop. Can I answer any questions about this?
Kathy, this is Tom. I support it 100%, and I appreciate what you guys have done to help this intersection. You talked about it briefly, but I think the gun club has an obligation on those 2 major weeks that they hold the state and also the high school competition. They need to be more involved and being more proactive too on finding ways for parking and so forth instead of the county trying to do everything. But I support this 100%.
Thank you, Tom. I should also mention that while we were working with the gun club, we did incur some costs with renting those larger message boards. These would be the DOT type message boards that everyone sees out on the highways. ours are not that large. We did rent those, incur a cost of $1,000, and we did share that cost. The Iowa Trap Shoot Association did share in those costs, and they have been very proactive in working with us. They want to continue with these same types of measures into the future to make the area less congested and safer.
Thank you.
I think this is a good move to take. So, is there any other questions or discussion? We do have a resolution. All right. Hearing none, roll call, please, Mr. Davison.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Item E, this is a resolution to place a stop sign number 530 to stop northbound traffic on Waverly Road, northwest corner, section 13, T909N, R14W at intersection of West Cedar Rhapsody Road and Waverly Road, as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
So moved.
So move.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, this is a resolution. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Item F, this is a motion that the emergency closure of the bridge over Pointer Creek on Ordway Road between Dubuque Road and Osage Road, section 31T89N, R11W, due to structural damage, be approved as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
And
So
I was
moved.
just going to ask Mike too, I think because we added this after the timeline of our typical agenda, we're supposed to at least acknowledge that, I think, in our meeting.
Yeah, we
This
got to
was-
acknowledge it in the meeting and acknowledge it in the minutes.
Yes.
Under Iowa Code 21.4, subsection 2B, it says that if it's necessary to hold a meeting, or in this case, an agenda item on less than 24 hours' notice, the nature of the good cause justifying that departure from the normal requirements shall be stated in the minutes. So we have to
Thank
make
you.
sure that's in
We
there.
forgot it. Thank you.
Yep.
Now, Kathy.
Yes, I would like to add that yesterday while we were out, we did have an excavator out on that structure. We were doing work trying to clean out underneath that structure, and we damaged the bridge. This is our only timber deck structure in the county. It's rated fair. It is posted at 26 tons, so it's obviously not a new structure. Unfortunately, we did damage it. In looking at the underside of the structure, I can show you some photos at a future meeting if you'd like. We did notice that some of the boards, the planks now are split, and we found it best to immediately close the bridge. Unfortunately, the bridge will be closed for probably, we're assuming, through the winter. We're hopeful that we can do, we're not quite sure what design we want to go with, what we want to do with the structure, but we have placed a concrete barrier in front of the structure on both sides of the road. This will be an inconvenience to the people along Osage Road. I apologize for that, but it is for their safety. We certainly don't want farm equipment or any other pieces of equipment going over the structure and collapsing it, for example. So unfortunately, it will probably be closed until at least next spring. We will notify the adjacent neighboring landowners by letter today or tomorrow.
Kathy, this is Tom. First off, I want to thank you for being active on this. You had no choice. Anytime it comes down to a safety factor, you have to deal with it. And I feel, as a county engineer, you have the authority to do that and notify the board, which you did. So I appreciate that. And couple questions. You said there's some landowners. Is there a school bus or emergency equipment that uses that bridge?
Probably. I don't know that for a fact yet, but yeah, I'm assuming so.
We should probably notify them to
Yeah.
make sure.
Yes, we did put out our road notifications on the road notification system, so all the school districts get that, and they should have gotten notice of that this morning and or yesterday evening, and hopefully have made adjustments to that already.
And is there any way we can make contact with the owners that live near that bridge? Also through the letter that you indicated, but also maybe personally, so they know it may take a while to get their mail or something.
Yes, I think we're already hearing from the nearest neighbors, so we will definitely reach out to them and make that clear.
Okay, and again, I support this 100%. I feel you have the authority to do that. I kind of disagreed with the county attorney on putting it on the agenda 7 hours after the deadline. I felt it could have went on next week. It would have been sufficient because we've had emergency situations in the past. And I feel that the county engineer has that authority to close that if she deems it was fit to do so, and she did. So again, I support it. I really not too sure on the resolution. I think it could have been on next week.
Well, it could have, Tom, but this way we give out as much notice as we can, I guess, to be helpful to let everybody know about it too.
Yeah, they're going to know about it after the fact, where it would have been on the agenda, like for public notice, what the agenda is used for. So anyway, I agree. The main thing is to get that bridge closed, and Kathy did the right thing. I read the code this morning. I don't know. I think it's a stretch, but
All right. Is there any further discussion or questions?
I'll make the motion.
Motion, we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. All right, the motion carries. Next is item G. This is resolution that the abatement of property taxes for the September 2024, March 2025 installments for parcel number 8913-20-255-009 at 4020 University Avenue, Waterloo, Iowa, nonprofit organization, Americans for Independent Living, for the amount of $27,748.58.
Morning, Board. This is TJ Konigsfeld, assessor. And Tim Combs is here. He's with the Americans for Independent Living. They assist veterans, homeless, and low income. And they purchased the property December 30th, 2022. The deadline for signing up for the exemption would have been that February 1st. And that was missed. They did sign up for March 8th of 2023. So what they're requesting is the taxes that are currently due now be abated. And Tim is here if you have any questions for him or anything.
And the reason, now I said the qualifying things that allows them to have the exemption going forward.
Yeah, they're a charitable society.
And they filled out all the paperwork and everything for it. It was just that it was the delay for the
Correct.
current.
Yep, just a timing issue. They'll be exempt moving forward here starting in 2024 for us.
TJ, were they done profit in 22 when they missed the deadline?
Yeah, they actually had signed up. They had a previous property. I don't remember the address, but they had a previous property that they qualified for, and they now moved into this property here. So they've been the same organization.
So they closed just about 4 weeks before the deadline, it sounds like. Okay.
Yep, correct.
Did you want to speak to it, Tim or Teresa, or anything as far as the... I mean, I think everybody's probably very familiar with what you're doing and trying to get done out there.
So, good day, everybody. Tim Combs, founder of AFIL, or Americans for Independent Living. And with this, we've been around for 9 years now in the area, serving veterans through transitional housing, helping get rid of the homeless veterans in the area, as far as getting them off the street, getting them back on their feet, and doing the things that we can do that direction. And then others helping the other veterans that get housed by other agencies with furnishings and goods. And so we try to keep those and the low income and elderly in their home as long as possible through the goods that we provide, through the assistance we provide in some home mod work, things like that. But so we've increased quite a bit over the last 9 years. Opportunity to be able to get some federal money to buy this building to put us into a 30,000 square foot facility. Really jumps our stature in the neighborhood, I guess, in the community, as far as even moving forward to expand and be able to help more individuals that we can. and thought we would be covered last year with paying the taxes and everything on the property. It's a lot more than what we had dealt with in the past due to the size now that we're working with. But this jump here now for this tax, when this showed up, and come in and talk to TJ about it, was not really budgeted in our effect for this next year coming up, and could really help us out in continuing our services and helping the veterans in the community and everything with this abatement moving forward and helping us out on that side of it. And we've got a lot of things. We've already gained about 23% increase in veteran services, veterans coming in and getting services from us already in a matter of being open in the last 3 months. So it's been a great deal for us to be where we're at now, and hopefully we can continue that. So just look for the board to help us out in any way possible.
All right.
Anyone online that has questions? I assume you just missed the timeline, or as far as the not having it hit that February 1 or whatever. I think that's what TJ said.
Apparently, yeah. We talking with TJ just after we acquired it and when we could do all that, and yeah, must have missed that couple weeks there, 3 weeks or whatever it was to turning it in and getting it stamped. So yeah, I'm not sure what the reason was now. That's a lot has happened since last February or last January, but yeah.
Well, kind of, as much as I appreciate your patience and everything being here today, you got to see a little bit of the changes, I guess, that we're trying to put in place for the Veteran Affairs offices.
Right,
too. So
right.
I know you
Yeah,
guys work
that's
closely.
huge.
So.
Hadn't seen any of that yet. Just talked to Yolanda the other day about it a little bit, so that's cool. Some good stuff moving forward.
Yeah, well, good.
I'll also offer a motion in support.
Guess there's no questions, or okay, I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, this is a resolution. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Little,
Yes.
Trelka. It's like Dan's gone. Hall,
Yes.
Leyland,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Item H, this is discussion about the intersection at Dubuque and Canfield Roads, submitted by Kathy Nicholas, County Engineer.
Good morning, Board. I told you last week that just due to the high number of emails and calls that I had received, as well as you, I wanted to make a formal discussion about this intersection. We all know that there was a fatality there several weeks ago, and I just want to respond to some of the comments and let you and the public know some of the thought processes that go into intersections considerations. So again, we're talking about the Dubuque and Canfield Road intersection. Currently, it is a two-way stop condition where Canfield Road is stopped on the north and the south of the intersection. It's our highest trafficked intersection in the county, in the rural county. You can see the traffic counts here, and I apologize for this not showing up, but you can see we have counts of upwards of 2,000, 2,500 on each leg. I mentioned the countermeasures when I was talking about the Cedar Wapsie and Waverly Road intersection. Countermeasures are things that engineers can do, roadway designers, we can do to minimize risk. We can apply it across the entire roadway system or at the intersection, whatever type of countermeasure is applicable. And these include things like I already mentioned, the 6-inch rumble strips, stop signs with the flashing globe or an LED on them. And we do apply these the entire length of a project. That's what the Iowa DOT and nationwide, that's what we're being urged to do, is apply these types of measures consistently across our roadways, not just focusing on hot spots. For example, crash spots. So we specialize in engineering countermeasures. However, there are other countermeasures in place that are done by, for example, the Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau. They go out and target groups such as speeding, impaired driving, impaired drivers, young drivers, older drivers, and unprotected persons. But those people who are not wearing seatbelts, for example. So we work in conjunction with all those groups on different types of countermeasures. These are the existing countermeasures in place at that intersection at Canfield and Dubuque Roads. Today, we do have flashing LED stop signs. We do have stop ahead signs. We have the 3-panel rumble strip on Canfield Road, north and south of the intersection. We have intersection ahead symbol signs, and then we have 6-inch pavement markings, I believe, on the Canfield Road portion. That intersection is very well lit. It's one of the only intersections in the county, the rural county, where we have the high mast lighting. It's very well lit from what we hear from the sheriff, from what we have observed ourselves. Now, the DOT does, of course, allow us to look at crash history as a means of investigating our intersections. So it's helpful to look at the crash history of intersections. The Iowa DOT does provide us with crash history data. They only provide us 10 years worth of data. They tell us, they tell their staff that anything prior to that is irrelevant in their consideration of intersection design or roadway design. So in the last 10 years, we have had 20 accidents at Canfield and Dubuque roads. But what does that mean? That's just a number. If we're not comparing it to other intersections in the county, it's just a number. So a better way to look at intersection or these crashes that are occurring is to make some comparisons. That seems the more fair way to do it. And that is to look at the ratio of crash frequency, crashes per year, like I have just told you, to vehicle exposure. How many vehicles are actually entering that intersection? And then we can make comparisons around the county. Federal Highway Administration and the Iowa DOT advocate that we use million entering vehicles at an intersection. So we count up however long it takes for 1 million entering vehicles into that intersection, and we look at how many crashes occur at that time, and then we can come up with this ratio. And you see these are the highest top 10 intersections in Black Hawk County. Number 1 would be Elk Run and Donald Street, and that is tied with Dunkerton Road and Wagner Roads. So those two have the highest crashes, the highest crash rate. And you can see the Canfield Road and Dubuque Road intersection is at 1.0. And the DOT says that that's about, when you get to 1.0, that's about when you should start considering countermeasures or start looking at an intersection. So you can see that here in the county, yes, it does have crashes at that intersection, but it's not our most, it doesn't have the most crashes at that intersection. And you can see, you can study this list and ask me future questions if you'd like, but the list does go down. As a point of reference, our Raymond and Independence Avenue in roundabout, that intersection was 1.76 before we did the roundabout treatment. So it was well above any of the intersections that we have today. Just looking really briefly at what types of costs, what types of opportunities do we have to improve that intersection or any intersection. Roundabouts are costing us, just as a really rough number, $1 to $2 million, depending on right-of-way, how large it is, the engineering involved. So that's a really wide variation, but they are expensive. Flashing LED stop signs, each sign costs approximately $2,500. Those can be hardwired or those can be solar installed LED stop signs. And then just simply stop ahead signs and stop signs are running approximately $100 to $200 a sign. You can see that there are 2 pots of money that we can receive from the Iowa DOT. Those would be the Transportation Safety Improvement Program, where we can receive up to $500 per project. A few years ago, we did receive about $200,000 on our Cedar Wapsie resurfacing project because we put in countermeasures like a 6-inch pavement line, edge line, and edge line rumble strips on Cedar Wapsie. So we received special TSIP money, we call it. There's also HSIP money, Highway Safety Improvement Program, that also gives money to cities and counties, the DOT, for countermeasures such as we've described. At this time, Canfield and Dubuque roads is not the highest trafficked, is not the highest, does not have the highest crashes in the county for an intersection. We have limited funding, and I am suggesting that we need to analyze all of our intersections before we decide to spend money. We need to make data-driven decisions on our intersections and how they will be improved. We may consider a four-way stop in the future, or we may consider a roundabout. All those things are possible in the future. I'm not willing to commit to one type of improvement today. Our next steps, we would like to study this over the winter and take a look at all of our intersections and how they can be improved, and compare them amongst each other, especially with our 5-year plan. What types of improvements can we do in the next 5 years? We are able to do road safety audits with Intrans, which is a center associated with Iowa State Universities that has traffic engineers, safety engineers. This would involve the sheriff's office, where we go out on site and actually look at the intersection. We have done those at Dunkerton and Wagner Road, which was one of the highest accident locations in the county. This may possibly lead to low-cost treatments at that intersection. I have taken all of these emails and calls to heart. I do sympathize with the families that have lost loved ones at these intersections on the county roadways. I feel some personal responsibility for crashes when they happen out on our roadways. I do take all of this serious, but we need to look at the data and expend our limited funds on by making data-driven decisions. So I don't want this to come across as the county is not doing anything. We are taking this seriously and deliberately looking at these accidents today and into the future, and we'll make changes as we feel are necessary. Can I answer any questions at this time?
Are there currently stop sign approach signs? Or
Yes.
ahead time?
Right, where the symbol where the stop sign is with the little arrow, those are at this Dubuque and Canfield intersection.
You said, Kathy, looking at this over the winter, does it take about 6 months probably to come back with a, I guess, conclusion or at least evaluation of some of the roads?
It might not. I can't tell you. It will take several months. There's a lot of data, and we would like to do a more thorough comparison with all of our intersections in the county.
Mm-hmm.
We're slower in the winter as far as, not having construction going on. We have staff time to do this type of thing, so that's why I'm just suggesting we will take a more thorough look this winter, and hopefully early in the spring we can make some conclusions and possibly suggest some upgrades.
Okay. And even if you're not ready, I think just keeping us updated at maybe where you're at in the process or something too, so that we can respond to public if they continue asking. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kathy.
Now, did you send or you publish anything like this? Or are you going to put this out, I guess, or something like you said? You had so many emails that you did receive and hearing from folks. Are you going to have this?
We haven't published anything yet. We've been working with Gabby, the social media social media specialist. We would like to reconvene with her when she is back and talk about our next steps for some of this information to get out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now move on to Section 9. This is a work session strategic planning departmental goals.
Al is going to have something made, I think, to throw up there.
We have the
2-pager or 3-pager or whatever it is.
I don't know how many pages it turned out to be, but
2 or 3, I think.
I think I do have something I can put up here.
Super. And I know I tried to make it clear to everybody, those weren't my directions, but they were the directions of Ted Garnett on just keeping it kind of short, but it was like, we could ask questions or clarification type of things he said, but it's like, we've got time for that yet too, because our meeting isn't until October 3rd with him at least.
So do
Do you want to, yeah, go in
want
order?
each
might as
department
well.
to stand up and say their own?
I think
I think that'd be good.
that was the point. Yeah, this was just nice, so we didn't have to take notes, but I think that was just really for the department to,
I think you're up first, Brian.
yeah, might as well say. Thank you for hanging
You're not
in
that
there.
old.
Oh, I feel it.
So I did my three goals. Obviously, my first goal is my biggest priority. It has been for some time, and we are beyond the breaking point in terms of office space and working conditions. That'll be my priority moving forward here.
Were you considering, just for, I guess, my own clarification too, as far as if we were to remodel the space at all down there, or is it just everything you'd like to be outside the building?
I hate to be flippant about it, but we would take cubicles in the parking lot at this point.
Okay.
It's really that bad. I've spent a lot of time with Rory. We've discussed a lot of these options. If that's one of them, I just, the time concerns me, but
The timing and how it could happen, but,
Yeah.
so you're just open to any and all?
Oh,
really,
absolutely.
At this point? So
Absolutely.
it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I
So that-
didn't know that it was really to have to locate outside the courthouse, but it was like, but what are the options?
No, and you know, I've mentioned along the way that here recently the public defender's office moved clear over on Kimball, and they've been a good, you know, test study for us that they can be that, you know, they're in the courtroom as much as we are, and they're that far away. So location isn't as a limitation that I thought it would have been 5 years ago. So
Yeah, to keep close, right?
we've toured a couple places. It's been worthwhile. I do appreciate the board's involvement thus far. They've been very receptive to our discussions, and you know, I do to a certain extent pride myself on not coming to the board very often for things. Back in 2020, I had a prosecutor that was attacked in the courtroom, and I came to you, and you guys listened to me. And I think this is now my second time coming back to you. But we are there, and unfortunately, I'm very concerned about losing people. Moving forward, I hope it's somewhat of a priority, even if I have to contribute whatever I have to contribute. And in addition to that, I do want to kind of alert the board that we have real close to starting a veterans court here in Blackhawk County. We have had initial meetings. I still have to get with the chief judge about kind of how her vision would be for that, but we've met with the VA social worker. She's all in. She's the one that initiated the meetings, so we are very close to that. And then the third that I have is, you know, times have changed, and we're still kind of in the Stone Age when it comes to notifying victims and communicating with victims by letter, that I would like to eventually implement something that our correspondence would be a little more up to date. Just, and again, I don't think I need the board's involvement in either 2 or 3, but it's just something I know we've been considering. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
When you're familiar with the system then that you're talking about, when you're saying as far as implementing something that would kind of be more immediate, I guess.
Yes,
So
I
it's
mean,
not
whether,
like this.
yeah,
Okay.
whether it be, you know, whether I need to get with Gabby, whether it's by email, it could be a number of different things, rather than just picking up the phone. You know, it's foolproof, but sometimes things fall through the cracks, so we want to be able to make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on with their case.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
I mean,
you.
we might later, but I was going to say for today, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
That's appreciate that.
Thank you.
I think Karen was supposed to, didn't Grant?
I don't know.
Karen will attend.
Is
by
Grant
Zoom.
online?
Oh.
You mentioned potentially zooming in.
Oh.
Apparently not.
You want to speak for it?
Yeah, I can speak to the auditor's office. We don't have a lot of out front visible things that we do, like the health department or conservation with parks and that sort of thing. So what we do provide is a large number of statutorily required services. The Iowa Code, requires me to do certain things with tax billing and property ownership. Accounts payable and payroll are also following the code. So I think our primary goal is, as discussed there, is that we're committed to providing a range of statutorily required services to the public in a helpful and efficient manner, making the public feel comfortable and welcome. So doing what we're required to do by law as efficiently as possible and with a smile, I guess.
Are you doing it now?
I think we are, and I will say that the renovation project, from what I'm seeing, it's just going to make that a little more comfortable, especially when it comes to serving the public, and also to be a little more efficient in the way we move about and use our space. It's not happening right now with us spread out all over the courthouse, and that really points out how inefficient it can be, when we're separated and we don't have a good workflow and functionality. So I think that would be our number one goal. The second goal kind of dovetails into that, and that is a lot of those services we provide to other departments, be it payroll or billing, invoice services, to do that also as efficiently as possible and in a friendly, cooperative manner. Finally, and I think the last one Karen spent time on, the one thing that we do that is highly visible to the public is elections. It is part of the auditor's office also, although sometimes we think of them as two separate functions. And that goal is that the office strives to maintain public confidence, especially in this day and age, by providing transparent and impartial elections conducted in a fair, efficient, and accurate manner. I think we're doing that today, but I think, as everyone in this room is aware, that's a constant struggle and it takes a lot of work. And I know we're really happy working with Gabby. Again, I don't want to speak too much for Karen, but I know we've been very happy with that cooperation we've had in terms of our social media presence and in getting the word out about what we do to ensure fair elections. So that's my overview. If you need more specifics, I might need to call in Karen or Grant.
I look forward to seeing more smiles after this discussion.
Yep, that's right.
As soon as we get out of the fourth floor courtroom and into our brand new renovated space over here, I think you'll see a lot of smiles.
All right.
We'll put that as one of our primary goals for us. Thanks.
All right, conservation.
All right, good morning. Mike Hendrickson, Director of Blackhawk County Conservation, and you'll see our three goals there, and I've got a few bullet points for each one to just kind of define those goals just a little bit better. But goal number one, to provide quality parks and outdoor recreational areas. To define that a little, we strive to create destination parks that provide positive quality of life and economic impacts to the community. We strive to maintain the infrastructure of those parks. And we'd like to manage our county conservation areas to provide high-quality habitats through development and execution of good, solid management plans. And those management plans would include our acres of prairies and all of our acres of timber stands that are out there, and to keep those healthy and moving forward. Our goal number two, meet the outdoor recreational needs of the citizens of Black Hawk County. These two goals sort of mesh with each other, but we do strive to provide a variety of outdoor recreational opportunities through development and maintenance of infrastructure needed for a variety of recreational activities, including but not limited to camping, trails, parks, boats, fishing, hunting, wildlife viewing, shooting sports, and canoeing and kayaking. So again, we want to make sure that the people of Black Hawk County have these opportunities. It does invite people to the area, and we want to keep those people outdoors and having fun. And our goal number 3 is going to rate right up there with maybe the most important one as we move forward and as we see changes in county conservation across the state of Iowa. And that's to encourage land stewardship and conservation of natural resources area through education. We strive to provide quality environmental programming for citizens of all ages on various conservation topics, including but not limited to erosion control, water quality, habitat development, preservation, and ecology. We strive to educate the public on the delicate balance between the natural world and the built environment, which is so important. We all understand the fact that we are expanding and we are moving out into those natural areas. And there has to be a balance to try to slow some of the reduction of the natural areas out there. We're very limited in the state of Iowa, whether it be our forested acres, our prairie acres, our wetland areas, and those types of things. Education is very important because, as we know, county conservation does manage just a little over 9,000 acres. We have many more acres than that in Black Hawk County. We are finding out more and more that there are landowners out there that very much would like to participate in pollinator programs, wetland development, prairie plantings, different things like that, forest management. They don't know how to do that. So our landowner assistance program that is really taking a hold and really getting active. It's why we have really promoted this and why we'll continue to promote this, because we don't need to own the land. We don't need to have it in our hands. If we can educate those people and we can convince those people that this is a good thing and you will get so much from this, we all benefit from that. And so really goal number 3 may be the most important goal that we have. Any questions I can answer?
I don't have any questions. All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, engineer.
Good morning again, Board. Our first goal is to improve the effectiveness and the efficiency of our secondary roads, our road department, by constructing a new main maintenance facility out at Longfellow. And I think I've talked quite a bit about this since last budget, but allowing us to have a new building out at Longfellow for where we do our mechanical work and our administrative work for secondary roads would allow us to consolidate a couple buildings, allow us to spread out in some of our work areas, such as some of the mechanics would need larger workspaces. If we ourselves were allowed to move out there, the whole department, meaning the engineering side, would also move out there into the new facility. We could just be more efficient. That would save a lot of trips with that staff coming to the courthouse. We would be co-located with them, and I feel like we would be really productive, have more conversations, just better working environments by being co-located with our secondary road staff. Our second goal is to make better data-driven decisions in all of what we do. We manage so many things: shops, buildings, roads. There's a whole lot of data that we have access to, and we would like to get access to in the future. I've talked to you about getting a fleet management system. Some of these new technologies concerning winter maintenance, all different sorts of activities where we can have access to data that does come with a cost, but we feel like being able to tap into some of this new data available, using that to make decisions, we can be more efficient. We would spend our money where it's really needed. So we would like to move more in that direction with some of our decisions. Improving the safety and condition of our infrastructure, and again, that is many things in this department. That would be our buildings, all of our buildings except for the main maintenance facility, the main shop at Longfellow are relatively young, 20 to 25 years. Our shops are relatively young. That's a good thing. We want to keep them in good condition, working conditions. Currently, our roads and bridges are probably in the top 10% in the state. We want to continue to keep them in that good condition, using data to keep them, to know when to go out and do infrastructure repair, preventative maintenance on our roadways. We want to continue to keep our assets in good repair. And then lastly is a goal to target safety, and this would be worker safety as well as roadside safety, but primarily worker safety, the safety of those people employed by the county. That should be our, that is one of our top goals. We want to improve that by having more safety meetings, having more of an emphasis on safety, and then enhanced communication amongst the employees out in our secondary roads department. Can I answer any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, finance.
Okay, kind of did this a little differently since I work in the board office for the board. So my top goal is to be able to serve as a resource for information for the board so that we can develop a financial reserves policy that would include a plan, hopefully, to provide proactive decision process regarding the use of any reserves that we define as excess. And goal number 2 is to serve as a resource for the board to develop a tool to evaluate unanticipated expenses and investment opportunities in order to provide the most beneficial impact to the whole county citizens. And lastly, consider implementing the use of a financial sustainability lens that we would use just as one factor when evaluating new initiatives that departments or board members have. Any questions on those?
Any ideas on the tools, the development of tools? That's still just to be determined.
That's all to be determined at this point, yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, your general assistance?
Yeah, Colleen couldn't be here today, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I can read them if you want me to do that.
That's all right. If you
No, one we can skip.
Okay,
you can move on.
that's fine.
Human resources.
Morning, Amanda Fezemer, Human Resources Director. So when we were looking at our goals, we would just want to recognize that we do feel that we've had a lot of the support from the board to accomplish a great deal in the last several years, along with the other department heads and elected officials. But some of the things that came up for us are all relative around really retaining our workforce and supporting our workforce. First one is revising our county performance management system. The current system right now evaluates performance, I wouldn't say all very consistently across our organization. We have some departments that are very good about producing these or having these performance evaluations completed, while others probably need some assistance in getting that reset with those expectations and bringing that to the board. Since you all are looking at strategic planning, our current performance management system is based on the 2028 vision. So I felt this was a good opportunity to kind of look at that together and see how we want to establish those employee goals and department goals in alignment with the organizational objectives. Any questions on that one? Okay. This kind of feeds into the next goal, which is provide training and development opportunities, which we currently do. But by having a strong, effective performance management system, our departments can identify what specific training needs there are within their teams. One area that we'd like to focus on is leadership development. We do have a lot of changes that have occurred in the last several years with leadership roles, whether individuals have promoted from within or they've been hired externally, and now looking at replacing upwards of 3 elected officials, which have held those positions for a very long time. So looking at having leadership training programs, offering coaching, mentoring programs, creating opportunities for employees to take on leadership roles throughout the organization as well. This then further ties into the last goal that we have for HR specifically, and that is improving employee engagement and recognition. Again, I do feel like we have some level employee engagement throughout the departments. What I'm kind of looking at here is something as an annual survey for employees to complete. Right now we collect a lot of data kind of ad hoc or at the exit survey, but this is an opportunity to look at how can we engage those employees to provide feedback as to what is working well, what could be improved, and ideas that they have, and how they can contribute to the overall organizational objectives and strategies. So the recognition piece, that's something that right now is kind of unclear as to, we have the service awards, which are wonderful. I think we could look at tweaking that. I know there are other entities that have like an annual event for service awards where there's like a luncheon. We at one time did the county cookout as kind of a recognition. I think there's just opportunities that we could explore here that ties into that performance management system, those development opportunities, and then that employee engagement and recognition piece. So, and lastly, I do just want to touch on, we've had a lot of discussions around growing and developing diversity and inclusion practices throughout the county. Within HR, I've listed things here such as creating inclusive job descriptions, offering training, raising awareness about unconscious bias. And those are things that we've done as a department in human resources, but this also kind of goes beyond HR, which is what was the purpose of establishing that committee a few months ago. So I think that's a step in the right direction, but I'd love to see something like that be reflected in the board's overall strategy. So,
very good.
Any questions at all?
No, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, information technology.
Good morning, Board. Al, you IT Director. I'd like to go over our 3 goals. Actually, I have 4. So the theme of our goals isn't necessarily introducing new goals, but they're kind of continuing the goals that we have been following, and I'd just like to highlight some of that. So number 1 is the security, ensuring the county is secure. That is our number 1 goal. We want to make sure that our county is safe. Our data is safe, and the key word on that is proactive. And we've never, we've followed best practices as best we can. We try to be proactive with all of our tools and everything that we do. We keep proactive in mind with every decision that we make. So that is a thing that we'd like to highlight. In addition, we would like to follow best practices and maintain compliance. So compliance is one of those things that some people love and some people hate, and I will fully admit I don't always love compliance, but we do our best in availability of critical services. It kind of goes back to that security. We want to safeguard that data. We don't want to be victim of ransomware. We want to make sure that all the information is intact. Downtime, victims of ransomware, it's devastating, and I don't ever want that to happen to our county. So that is those are things that we lose sleep over. We want to make sure that everyone has everything safe. And lastly, and I really love this goal actually, is collaborating with departments. We love working with other departments. If there are ways that we can promote innovation and create efficiency for those departments, we absolutely love working with other departments. So, and these are just utilizing the tools and everything that we currently have. I'm trying to be cost effective in mind. And so, yeah, working with the departments, obviously there's more room for improvement. And every opportunity we have to work with other departments to improve processes and efficiencies, we absolutely will do. Can I answer any questions?
On your 1 goal, it's ensure uptime and availability of critical services. Have you got ideas or thoughts about that, or how that would be done, or how you would do that?
And those are mostly processes. I mean, some things we are at the mercy of certain products because they're cloud-based. But this goes back to proactive, the preventative nature, timing updates at a strategic time so it doesn't cause, we would never apply an update during the day and then take down New World and then Michelle will be mad at me. So we don't want to. We want everyone to be happy. So other things are logging and looking at history, seeing if there's any trends, any history that could help predict and help with stability and things like that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Board.
Hello.
First of all, the first goal, safety and compliance. As you know, we have our safety coordinator now, so this is ultimately a living goal. It's always there. We talked about it back when we did the 2028 vision. I think we've made huge improvement, not only for the building maintenance department, but all other departments as well through training and compliance audits and what have you. So we'll continue to treat that as a number one goal. Safety, obviously, that's our number one goal. Number two, energy efficiency and sustainability. As I hope that you notice, and over the years with the projects that we've done, this is always a line item in our projects. Every time we do something, we do look at it from an energy standpoint. Is there a way to do it more efficiently? What's the benefit going to be for us as a county? So that is another goal that's always out there for our department, something that we frequently discuss and again look at for every project that we do. Maintenance efficiency through technology and preventative maintenance. One thing I'd really like to hone in on there is training, particularly on specific equipment. For an example, we've got some similarities in our chiller systems between a couple of our buildings. I would like to take a little deeper dive with our own staff and get some more training done there. So that's something that's kind of a department goal for us, is to provide that. Looking at our outsourcing services that we have, our security and our janitorial, there's always room for improvement, and that's something too now with expanded staff that we do have, that that is on our list of action items to create some sort of a checks and balances to help improve that throughout all of our facilities. And I think everyone will agree there's plenty of room for improvement on both of those outsourced contracts. So that's something that maybe through technology, through audits, those types of things that we can help improve. Preventative maintenance, we've taken a lot of measures there with regards to our maintenance system, work order system. We're still very reactive maintenance department. We always are trying to look for ways to be more proactive, putting out regular checks and balances. Filter change-outs is one example, oil change-outs to prevent downtime on major equipment. We're hoping to be able to utilize this system even more so moving forward to improve on that preventative part and not be so reactive. So those are kind of our three goals that keeps us going. And again, they're goals that I don't see really going away. I don't really see an end point. There always is going to be room for improvement, I think, in all three of those. So that's what we're about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Gabby is out of town today, so.
Great.
And skip marketing.
Okay, good morning, Board.
Right.
Caitlin Emmerich, Public Health Director. We are a little bit different than other departments that we have a strategic plan currently. It goes from FY22 through FY27. So the goals that I presented to the board are actually already included in our strategic plan. I'm just hoping to elevate them a little bit. The first one comes from our operational strategy and alignment objective in our strategic plan, and that's sustainable financial resources for current programs and meeting gaps to address new community needs. Supervisor Leyland got to hear a little bit about kind of the financial trend with public health over time, in that the state funding allocations for grants and fees are remaining flat and have remained flat for quite some time. And so that means that the proportion of our budget that is tax ask is increasing. We used to have around 40 to 50% of our budget be grant and fees supported, and now we're closer to like 30-35% that's grant and fees supported. So that's kind of where that goal comes from. The second one is from our staff development area of our strategic plan. This really aligns with what Amanda was saying on workforce development and employee satisfaction, motivation, and retention. I don't need to repeat everything that she said, but as you guys are very well aware, we've seen a lot of movement in our workforce, and so that's stabilized quite a bit, and my goal is to keep our current workforce and make sure that we keep them for a long time so we're as efficient as possible. The third goal also aligns with some of the things that Amanda was talking about and some of the things that are in the marketing goal area around language barriers and equity concerns and things like that. And so that's centering equity and collaborations through continued support of the Unite Committee, which I learned now has a name. I think is it public? It is now. Possibly adopting an equity tool and standardizing equity considerations in decision-making and potentially external funding allocations. So those were our top three. I also did sneak in a 4 and a 5 in the notes section, just in case there's room for consideration. The number 4 is really around a culture of documentation. This is something that's currently in our strategic plan, and because through attrition, when people leave, if you don't have a really solid system for policy and procedure and record management and all of that, it can get a little disorganized. And so that's something that we're challenged with right now, is just how we are making sure we are regularly reviewing our policies, our procedures, our work instructions, things like that, as well as Al can attest to our network drive needs some help for organization of our digital documents. And so that's kind of what that one's about. And then also to support, I told Rory I was not going to take this on, but I would be his cheerleader when it comes to just utilizing and enhancing janitorial maintenance services to ensure that investments in our physical infrastructure last as long as possible, because I'm really excited about all of the great improvements that are happening at Pinecrest, and I want to make sure they last for a very long time, and make sure that we're able to support the preventive maintenance and janitorial services to ensure they last a really long time. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. No questions. Thank you, Caitlin. All right, Recorder's Office.
Good morning, Board. Sandy Smith, County Recorder. Our number one goal has always been to provide an efficient, secure, and accessible records management system by continuing to modernize policies and procedures that reflect current and future industry practices. And as you know, every parcel, building, and piece of property in our county is represented by a document that gets recorded in the Recorder's Office. And it is my job to preserve and maintain that document forever. So we took a huge step forward in this goal last year when we purchased our new records management system. So in February, we went live with that. There are several enhancements that we'll be using this year, releasing that can benefit the citizens. It's all paid for already. It's in our yearly maintenance fee. We'll be rolling those out this year. And I think that that's a very nice feature. They have an honors rewards program that I'd like to provide you with more information about in the future for our veterans to use when they record their military records. They'll be getting a discount card for area businesses, and we'll be providing those area businesses that have volunteered for that. So that's a really nice feature. Also, our second goal is to strive for excellent customer service. We have such a variety of services in our office. We could be issuing a fishing license one moment and then a death certificate to a grieving family the next. So continuing to address customers' needs while showing empathy and expressing, just letting them know that they are a priority is important to me as a recorder. Thirdly, our goal is to increase online access to historical documents. We've been doing this in phases over years. Recorders have a records management account that we're very fortunate to have every year, a budgeted line item amount that we do that, and we'll continue to do that. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the Sheriff's Office.
Good morning. Nate Neff, Jail Administrator.
My first goal kind of stems from the fact that unfortunately when the sheriff's office or any law enforcement deals with the public, it's usually from a negative thing. If it's patrol, you're either being pulled over, you've been involved in a car crash, your house is broken into. If it's civil, you're being told that you owe somebody money, that you're getting divorced, that you're getting evicted. And if you're dealing with the jail staff, you've obviously had a really bad day then. So the first goal is to increase our community engagement. We took a big step forward with that last year with Canine Mary. She's been making the rounds a lot with her handler Carla. But then for me personally, I want to get out more and kind of bring back some of the monthly talks and that kind of stuff. So just that I'm out there, give people a chance to talk to us in a positive light. Second one is kind of building on a passion that I've had the last few years as a jail administrator. Moving forward, I want to keep building on some of those programs that we've done, whether it be with Hawkeye Community College, Iowa Works, Pathways, just continuing to build those relationships with a lot of the stakeholders that we already have in the community. Things that help get whether get people out of jail or help keep people out of jail once they do get out. And then the third one is more of an internal goal, and that's right now we don't have a supervisory position for our civilians. We need to work on that, just one, somewhat out of need, as the pool kind of shifts over from less sworn staff to more civilian staff. But also one of the complaints we get on our civilian side is that it's a great job, but it's not really a career because there's no growth avenue in it. So by giving them supervisory positions, that gives them something to strive for, something to attain for. And we've got a lot of great leaders within those ranks right now that they just don't get a chance to wear that on their sleeve. So hopefully this will give them a sense of pride when we do that.
No, I especially appreciate number 2, reducing recidivism is critical for this community.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Nate.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Treasurer's Office.
Good morning, Board. Linda Hintzman, Treasurer, and thanks, Nate, for telling me my number 3 was deleted, so I did put that back on.
Somebody accidentally deleted it. I don't know.
Yeah, I got a nice phone call yesterday. I guess where to start for me is my year and a half as treasurer has kind of been a whirlwind, so trying to learn to decide where to start with everything. My number 1 goal for our office at this point, to me, is to continue to improve our training and learning opportunities to ensure quality customer service to the people we serve. We serve a lot of people in the community day in and day out. On average, we could have anywhere from 100 to 200 and 250 people walk through our door every day. So my goal is for our staff is to constantly be working with, training, what's the best way to approach each individual service that the individual comes in with. If we have a disgruntled customer, what's the best way to handle that person that's not very happy? What's the best way to de-escalate and do our job efficiently, professionally, to represent Blackhawk County? So that's kind of my number 1 goal. My number 2 is to communicate openly, effectively with other offices to better serve the county residents. I feel our office, we work very well, I feel like hand in hand with different offices within this building. Tim is one of our very good go-tos. TJ is another one of ours, along with the recorder's office. I feel that should be one of our important goals as well, is to continue to work hand in hand with every entity within this building to better serve all of the residents of Blackhawk County. We get phone calls on a daily basis for things like, for instance, right now, property tax statements, because my name is on there. They feel that we are the ones that set the rates. We are the ones that did all of the decision making. We do try our best to try to answer those questions. If not, we try to point them in the correct direction to get their their questions answered. Our third goal is, for me in my year and a half term here, is to create a supportive, safe, and positive work environment to ensure staff to do their best and continue employment with Blackhawk County. Since I have taken over my role, we have had so much retirement in my office, which is been kind of a big downfall for Blackhawk County in the sense that we have lost so much knowledge. I have wonderful, great staff that have replaced them since. My goal moving forward is to continue to teach and grow those young minds and whatever, age of minds along the way, to continue for them to want to stay with Blackhawk County, to grow with Blackhawk County, to continue serving the residents that we do. So those are my 3 goals. Do you have any questions?
You mentioned customer service
Yes.
always, and I think all of us stand to benefit from that. Sometimes repetition is never enough. But when you're talking about training too, when you've had so much new staff, is there any particular training that would help in your department, or is it just kind of being there, like say, learning through experience of what's there? Are there trainings that would actually help?
Majority of it right now is all hands-on. For the most part, that's kind of our best means of training. We do try to run them through scenarios for 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month or more, just depends on the individual. And then sit with them on the front line to help assist the customers. So if they have any questions, there's one of us there to try to help with that. But for now, it's more the hands-on learning for them to get a feel of what each individual might have.
So retention becomes an issue, just so you're not constantly going through those same experiences.
Right. But each individual that comes to our office is just a little bit different. So even if you think you have something understood or down, that next individual that might come in might have just enough of a twist compared to the first person that was in. So it's all kind of just learning along the way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you did lose a lot of long-term ones all at once, kind of. So
we did.
Appreciate
But we have filled those
being in there.
positions with some wonderful people.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. All right, and finally, Veterans Affairs.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Last but not least, but my body is aching from just sitting so long.
I bet. Comfortable chairs, huh?
Yeah, but good morning. So our 3 focuses was centered around our mission statement, which is to assist veterans in their dependents' needs to which they're entitled to. And then you're going to look at some of the numbers you're saying they're so small, like the increase in number of veterans and surviving spouses receiving compensation from 2,100 to about, to actually 2,150 is what I'm going with for the next calendar year. But our biggest challenge is just as many veterans and surviving spouses that we get service connected for disability or for compensation, we're losing that same amount. In fact, we're losing more veterans than we're helping. The other challenge that our office has is right now there is no conflicts that veterans are involved in. And with our city and our county and our state, we don't have active duty forces. So we only have the National Guard and we have reservists. Without conflict, they can't go into theater to gain that entitlement of being a veteran. You can have a National Guardsman serve 15 years, but yet if they don't go into conflict under Title 10 orders, they cannot get the designation veteran, which means we can't help them in that standpoint in some fashions. But if they do have some type of injury while they're serving, but they have to serve on active duty. So those are the challenges. So we kind of created a measurable, realistic number, and that's why I have that for increasing the number in that standpoint. And then our second one is increasing the monthly federal awards. That's where we're getting competitive with the other 98 counties. And we would like to, by the end of the fiscal year, calendar year 25, move us to about $3.5 million in monthly revenue coming back into our county for the veterans that are receiving those. We're currently at 3.4. In 21, we were at, in fiscal year 21, we're at 2.4. And so right up here now, we're at 3.4, which is a great thing. So we're seeing the upward mobility movement based on the PACT Act in particular that allowed more veterans to apply. But again, just creating a realistic number and a goal for us. And then the last one is being a good manager of county funds in that standpoint. And from a veteran standpoint is trying to get a veteran away from being a needs-based person to being proactive to taking care of themselves. And that's kind of personal to me because as a veteran, they teach us those type of life coping skills. When things are down, you go get yourself up, pull yourself up by your bootstrap, and you go find a job or you go find whatever it is to dig you out of that. So my last one is decrease our county veterans relief expenditures by about $5,000 for the calendar year. How do we do that? We help veterans that are entitled to their compensation and their disabilities in that standpoint, making them more educational, aware of what they're entitled to. And then the second part of that is getting them to the community resources outside of the county to get them to be assisted. Now, some people will say that's negative, Yolando. You're cutting back and not helping veterans. I feel that you're not cutting back you're not cutting back, but you're educating veterans. Because a lot of the veterans that come in for county relief or for veterans relief are the same veterans that we've been seeing for the last 5 years. So how are we helping those veterans if we're just constantly feeding them or using the VA as a welfare system? Please don't, you can hold that against me, but I see that in the last 5 years, that there's some veterans that are using the system for some type of assistance, but not helping themselves. So forgive me for that, but as a taxpayer and as someone that is proud to work for this county, I don't want to see veterans take advantage of the county. So those are the 3 goals that I have, and I was just standing by to address any questions or concerns you may have.
No, I appreciate the, like I say, explaining the goals when you have the numbers there and why that difference of numbers of just maybe you said they were increasing from the 2,100 to maybe 2,150 rather than 2,200, you think?
Well, it's going to go to 22. That's my goal.
Okay, it's from the 21 to 50. Okay, all right. And thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for all your departmental reports. We'll next move on to any reports or information from the board. I don't think Supervisor Hall's not with us anymore, so I'll save my congratulations for next week. I
Oh,
think.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I thought maybe we'd see a shot, but no, baby.
All right.
And it doesn't look like it's going to be you and me closing up, too.
All right.
Motion for adjournment?
Yes.
Can't even, I don't think we could even have a motion now.
I know.
All right, let's just.
But we could adjourn.
I was being sarcastic.
Everybody quietly dissipate.
Yeah. Yes, have a good day, rest of your day.